Philly fan means you have thick skin.
There's nothing they do special.
Being a Philly fan means you have thick skin.
There's nothing they do special. There's nothing they do special.
Being a Philly fan means you rock hard.
If John isn't in your vocabulary, then you just wouldn't understand.
Being from Philadelphia means you've always got grit.
Being a Philly fan means you have passion.
Tie his shoelaces together.
A lot of people that don't like Philadelphia are really just uncultured. They never tasted Cheese Whiz. Some of them have never even been to a Wawa. And that's not a world I want to live in.
Being a Philly fan means you have heart. Being a Philly fan means you have tradition. When people tell us they don't like us, we simply respond with,
No one likes us and we don't care.
We don't care. Guess what? We don't like you either.
we don't care. It's a Philly thing, baby.
It's a Philly thing.
Hey, run, go get us some beer, would you?
And the kick is good.
We don't actually say wooder, we say water. Stop putting that out there.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm not even sorry. The Eagles are about to play the Chiefs like an Atari, and the Eagles are going to win that Lombardi. My name is Johnny. I'm going to be your host here on the Dollar Wrestling Club podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, the Eagles in general, all of past, present, and future. And I do have some co-hosts with me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Daddy football in the house. I actually think I say Wooder. I don't think I say water, though. Daddy football, the sexiest man in all of Philadelphia. Panetta Sexy Time is here. What's up, baby? Let's go Eagles! We should have did the song with the video. I love that song.
We really should have. That was awesome editing, by the way, man. But we don't just have you. Who else do we got, man?
Oh, look at this guy.
You got rock hard, baby. I'm going to stack them up and knock them down. We're winning the Super Bowl. Let's go. Go, Birds.
You look like you're at a rave, Jim. How do I get into that?
Yeah, I know. It looks like I'm turning orange. Also, I do say water too. Sorry, Johnny.
Oh, Jesus. I guess I'm the only one with class in this podcast.
we do love Wiz, though. We do love Wiz. So.
Fair enough. Wiz whip, baby. So, look, I want to start right at the start of the Super Bowl, and where else to start a game than the coin toss? For anyone that doesn't know, Jason Kelce, is the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Travis Kelce is the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the first time two brothers are facing off in a Super Bowl. Sorry, what?
They better know that.
Well, just in case, you never know who's watching. But two brothers are facing off in the Super Bowl, and there's a petition being gone around to have the mom do the coin toss. There's probably no more appropriate person on earth to do it. What do you guys think of that? Do you think it will actually happen, or is it just an internet rumor?
I think Kelsey's America's mom right now. You might as well give it to her. But I did read that the last 8 teams that won the coin toss have lost the Super Bowl in a row. So you definitely need her. That way she's not going to cheat. She doesn't have an invested interest either way. I have a feeling Jason's her favorite, though. How about you, Jim?
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if she did it. Do I think they'll have her do it? No, I don't. I just think they probably won't do that. It'll set a precedent for, things like that. I think it would be really cool. It's definitely a good story. She's becoming a household mom. And Kev, to your point about the 8 coin tosses lost, I think there's something to that we can get into. I think in Johnny's next topic, I'll elaborate.
Well, look at you. Yeah, I was just going to ask, if you guys are the head coach, you win the coin toss, would you elect to kick to, start the game, get the ball back in the second half, or would you receive?
Well, so since I just said that, I'll respond first. So I think all eight of those losses, or at least 7 of them, they did not get they deferred, meaning whoever got the ball first won the game. So therefore, if I win the toss and I'm the Eagles, I'm taking the ball. Because whenever Jalen Hurts gets the ball and we go down and score, we win the game. It's proven. It's right there in the stats. Take the ball, go down and score. The rest is history.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. You got to take the ball in this instance. Typically I'd like to defer, but in a game like this, you can't show any that you're scared at all. You got to set the tone right away, and you got to run the ball down their throat. Even go for it on a 4th and 1 in the first freaking possession if you have to. At least score this first drive and just show them that we're not a joke. Take us serious. Screw Patrick Mahomes. Screw his haircut. Screw his girlfriend. Screw his brother. Show him what the Philly is. Show him it's a Philly thing. Show him what a Philly thing is.
I'll show him.
I love that, man. You guys know I'm typically a kick the ball to start the game because I love seeing teams receiving, seeing the Eagles receive in the second half. But, I really agree with you guys. I mean, you have to trust the data. You have to trust the stats. When the Eagles get out there, get the ball, punch them in the face, so to speak, with a touchdown, I mean, it really has been proven. I mean, the Eagles just do a lot better when they're in the lead and controlling the game, controlling the clock. You know what I mean? I feel like that is how it goes, and I kind of hope you guys are right. I really would love to see them receive to start the game.
John, I wouldn't mind if we lost the flip and they got the ball first. I'm confident in our defense. I just think it sets a tone that we're afraid that if we deferred right away. That's why I want to run the ball first, get the ball first, and score right down their throats right away, start the game.
That would be my ideal start. Getting the ball, just do a drive where we're running it right down their freaking throat. Demoralize them. Our offensive line just knocks them 5 yards back off the ball and just demoralize them right off the start. Boom. Game over.
And I have insider news. Patrick Mahomes has been playing up this injury. He's been faking it just so he looks a little weaker.
I'm completely expecting him to be, normal.
He's 100%, unfortunately.
If I was the coach, I would be planning as if he were. Not saying he is, or it's not going to bother him at all. But if I were coaching the Eagles, I would prepare as if he was 100%.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to. I mean, it's the Super Bowl, for goodness sakes. So, I mean, you have to go out there, play 100%, expect them to be at 100%. We have the 2 best teams in football. I'm glad you guys are already talking about positions and really analyzing this thing, because I think it's only right we really break this down position by position. Just for instance, let's go ahead and start at the offensive and defensive lines. Let's compare the Eagles and the Chiefs real quick. Jim, would you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there is a comparison, to be honest. The Eagles' offensive line is superior, to pretty much every line in the league. You have Lane Johnson, he's a Hall of Famer. You have Kelsey, who is a Hall of Famer. You have Dickerson, who is a second-year All-Pro, not Pro Bowler, All-Pro. Mailata, you have him, who's a great left tackle, future. And, he's a monster. And then you have Isaac Seumalo, who's underrated. If you listen to some of his teammates and his coaches talk about how smart he is and watch some of the in-depth plays and stuff like that, you see he really is good. So all across the line, there's not really a weakness. So I don't know really where you can say, let me line Chris Jones up here. Obviously, he's probably going to line up in the middle somewhere, because that would be his best chance. I mean, you're going to line him up over Lane Johnson. You know how many sacks Lane Johnson has given up since 2020?
How many?
0.
Nice. That's protection.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you want to talk about the offensive line, or you want me to say about the defensive line too?
Whatever you like. Go off.
Can I jump on the defense real quick and come right back to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it was just amazing how our defensive line set history this year. We had 70 sacks total, but we had 4 defensive players with 10 sacks. We did it in 16 games, by the way. In the 16th game, I knew we had 1 game left, and I'm like, oh my God, if Fletcher Cox has 2 sacks this game and 2 sacks next game, we'll have 5 guys on the defensive that has 10 sacks. It would have been insane. So I just wanted to touch on that. We did it in 16 games. For anybody out there that's not from Pennsylvania, it was a fair one, and we almost was another one. We almost had a 5th player. All right, Jim, back to you. I just wanted to get that point in there for anybody that's not a Philadelphia fan out there to make sure they respect the name of our defense.
Yeah. I mean, so the offensive line there, the Chiefs do have a good offensive line. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I mean, when you go down the line, player for player, I mean, the Eagles have the advantage there if we're doing that. But really, it's your offensive line against the defensive line, and I think the Kansas City offensive line against our defensive line, once again, it's kind of a little bit of a mismatch there. We're 10 deep. Like Kevin said, 70 sacks, 4 guys, double-digit sacks, 78 sacks, including playoffs. We're, I think, 4 or 5 away from a record, which we will be getting in this game. So, and the thing about it is, guys, like, we don't blitz. So the pressure is coming just from the line. Do you know how good that is? Like, that's the key. You don't have to send extra guys because our line just breaks through, and our linebackers can cover, watch the run. Our D-backs are free to cover man to man, and so I mean, both lines were just dominant.
And Jim, let's not talk crap on the Chiefs' defensive line. Believe it or not, they had 55 sacks as well. They were right up there with us.
No, they're a very good defensive line. Chris Jones is probably top he's up for defensive player of the year, actually. So no, they're very good. I'm just saying our defensive line is historic.
Yeah. And what happened when they try to have a tight end block Hassan Reddick? What happened last week, Jim? Why don't you tell everybody at home? He ripped off Brock Purdy's arm. What a waste of the name Brock. It's such a badass name. We rip his freaking arm off by the little pretty boy nerd. Brock the freaking nerd. You don't deserve a Brock name.
You know what's pissed me off about that? The 49ers there and everybody saying, oh, if their quarterback played. Well, why did their quarterback go out of the game? Whose fault was that?
And why did their other quarterback go out of the game? Because Ndamukong Suh hit him pretty hard too, and we just destroyed your offensive line.
Exactly. Block. If you blocked, then the quarterbacks wouldn't have been out of the game. So
and they were supposed to be known for how great of coaching they are too. With what's his name, Harbaugh. They should have ran with McCaffrey when Purdy went out. I'm like, that's bad for us. They're going to run with McCaffrey the whole game, and they didn't. Yeah. And they didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm loving the energy. I'm loving the answers. Very good points made. While the energy's high, I'm just going to get to the meat and potatoes, the thing we all want to talk about. Who's got the better quarterback, Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes?
I'm gonna. I hate to say it, Mahomes is like. I'm gonna compare him to a basketball player. How Mahomes is a quarterback is how Magic Johnson used to play basketball. He just finds the open receiver without looking. Like, even though our defensive line is that much more dominant, Mahomes just knows how to make plays, and he's probably the best player in football. I actually think he's going to win MVP over Hurts, which hopefully I'm wrong. If Hurts didn't get hurt, I feel he would have won it, even though that might have proved that he was the MVP because we played so much better when you saw how worse Minshew was. But Mahomes ended up having how many more yards passing, Jim? It was like 1,500, maybe even 2,000. Like, just stats
Really?
are too undeniable.
Wait, who?
Mahomes over Hurts passing yards.
Oh, Mahomes has had over 5,000 yards this year.
Yeah, and what did Hurts have? Like 30?
Hurts 3. He might have hit 4,000. I'm not sure exactly how many, but
Well over 1,000 yards.
But how many yards did he get on his feet, baby?
He also missed 2 games too.
Yeah, so I think it hurt his chances, even though it technically proved he should have won the award. Oh,
I gotta imagine Hurts had more rushing yards though. No.
Yeah, but Mahomes can run. But Johnny, well, I'll read this slide that because it's kind of the similar topic. Jim, talk about how big of a douche Chris Sims is. Before Hurts got hurt, he said, "There's just no way he's more valuable to his team than Mahomes, Burrow, or Allen. If you put Gardner Minshew in the Eagles' offense, they'd still be really damn good. Chris Sims, you're a jabroni." Jim, talk about this jabroni.
Honestly, man, this has been him all year. He's been putting Jalen Hurts down and saying, implying that he's not a good quarterback, that he can't throw the ball, that he's only good because the Eagles roster is so good that anybody could play quarterback and be successful. Well, you know what, Chris Sims? You suck. You're jealous because you came into the NFL and you couldn't make it. And you know what? Go cry on your daddy's shoulder. Jalen Hurts is
daddy's boy.
I mean, come on, man. There's no reason to be putting Jalen Hurts down. He's the best leader in football. The kid's been through. Did you see what he's been through in college and what he's accomplished and overcome? So don't give me your crap. He deserves where he is, and he belongs. It's a Philly thing, mofo.
Jalen Hurts just proved like he's the hardest working athlete, not football player, athlete since Kobe Bryant. He's that big of a hard worker. Imagine if Michael Vick studied like he did and just worked as hard, or Iverson, or any athlete worked as hard as Jalen Hurts. Look at that big of an improvement. That's like people say, like, if I study the game, can I improve? Yes, Jalen Hurts just proved it. All these guys that like they go over the playbooks, they're not even reading it. The coaches are begging them, putting like pictures in there to like mess with them. They still not reading the playbooks. Jalen Hurts proved that learn the freaking game. You can if you have any athletic ability, especially at this level, you can take 10 steps forward the following year.
Absolutely. And, he does everything he needs to do. His mindset is perfect. The way he leads, his demeanor, everything about him is, last year, I think we all thought that, we didn't know if he could. We thought we loved everything, but we didn't know if he could make the throws and read the defenses. He's proved this year without a shadow of a doubt that he's the man. So, doesn't
he seem like a perfect person? He seems everything. He says nothing wrong, even in his interviews. Everything's the right answer.
Yeah,
dude, it's amazing.
But let me just comment on Patrick Mahomes and Johnny's question. I think in this instance, I can't be a homer. Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. I think by the end of his career, he'll probably wind up being a top 3 of all-time quarterback at the very least, if not the greatest. And I'm not a Mahomes fan. I don't like the Chiefs. I don't like Mahomes. Kev, you're on another podcast where a guy said Mahomes is average. I don't know how you can watch football and know football and say Patrick Mahomes is average. That's just ridiculous. He's an outstanding quarterback, an outstanding athlete, and he's the best one in the game right now.
Hurts has the potential to get there. With this win would be a big stepping stone for him. But you definitely can't. Mahomes has been in 5 AFC Championship games in a row. You definitely can't. You got to put him on that.
And he's only what is he? 26, 27?
Yeah, he's only been in the league 6 years, 7 tops.
That is wild to think about.
Oh, and I forgot. Aaron Rodgers said this Eagles offensive line is the best he's seen in his career, best in 20 years. I forgot to mention that on the last topic.
I honestly feel like this offensive line is it's the best I've ever seen, and I think it's the best that there's been at least this century.
Best since the Cowboys of the 90s teams, the Troy Aikman teams. The best since then, I believe.
Yeah. I agree. As a Philadelphia team, when was the last time you were really talking about the offensive line? When was the last time you were seeing offensive lineman jerseys getting sold that well?
The McNabb years, we had John Runyon. John Runyon sold a lot, and then Trey Thomas, but not the whole freaking line.
That's what I mean. Mind you, I'm older, I'm wiser. I appreciate offensive lines more than I used to. But still, man, I feel like we have stars on the O-line. Come on, Jason Kelce in general. When was the last time anyone really cared about a center that much? You know what I mean?
They came out with a Christmas album, dude. They're celebrities. They're that good.
And he will arguably go down as the greatest center of all time in all of football.
Who's going down as number 1? Rock Hard Jim Prendy?
Yeah. No, guy like Webster who was on the Steelers.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. While we're talking about veterans of the Eagles like that, this is a kind of a wild hypothetical question I thought of. But if you could go and select any veteran Eagles player and just make them 5 years younger. Essentially, what I'm asking, get another 5 years out of someone, 5 more years of them in the locker room, 5 more years of them on the field. Who do you guys think you'd go with?
If you only get one pick, or can I take 2?
You can mention 2. There's no rules here.
Obviously, Brian Dawkins. Jim was probably going to say that one, and then I want Trotter in the middle, man. I want that Axeman back, a young.
You're saying any Eagle ever, or
because it would help us more.
An older Eagle now.
I was thinking current, but go off. If you want to talk about all time, I mean, that's fun too. Come on, this is a hardcore match, baby. Whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, I want a Dawkins and Trotter in the middle. I thought that it would help the team more, those guys being young on this team, because we don't have that many weaknesses, that many holes. Maybe
if you actually went down the line of the Eagles roster, position for position, and wanted to trade out, like there isn't many positions to where you would say, "Oh, I'll take that Eagle over the current Eagle."
Yeah, definitely running back. Definitely running back. You know, you can take Westbrook, obviously.
Oh, this would have been a fun topic. Like, would you guys trade like Terrell Owens for like Watkins?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think you got. How about Terrell Owens over like Devontae Smith? No. You know, that's an argument.
Well, I would do T.O. over Devontae Smith.
Not if you already have A.J. Brown.
If you were to pick 3 receivers for the Eagles of all time, I mean, T.O. has to be on there.
He only played 1 year.
Okay, but he was an Eagle.
It mattered.
I mean, do you see what he did in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, on a broken leg. On a freaking leg.
A.J. Brown would be in there. And then the third receiver, if we're doing 3, I think, has to be Devontae Smith, because I can't think, unless you go like Irving Fryer.
Fred Barnett.
But
I would take Devontae over Fred Barnett. He's more talented, but Fred had a obviously great career.
Yeah, but I would
Mike Quick. Oh, Mike Quick, dude. Mike Quick.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, Mike Quick.
Well, you also had other guys too. But definitely, I think Devontae is gonna he'll wind up being better than those guys.
Now same topic we were just saying though, like who would you have as your kick returner? That's like our biggest weakness, I think, right now. To take any kick
you got to think like Sproles or Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun on punt returns.
Oh, come on.
I would take Brian Mitchell.
It was good.
Ooh, that's a good pick. That's a real good pick.
Yeah, you can go way back by Sick of Haim and have him box the end zone pole.
It's wild. The 3 currents that came to mind, I think you guys will agree with me. I mean, you got to figure Jason Kelce is up there. Just because he's such like a leader, like of the offensive line in general, such a good like personality. I was also thinking Fletcher Cox. He's getting up there in age. And I was also thinking Graham.
Yeah.
Because I hear he's like a big leader too, defensively.
It's funny,
and Fletcher too. Sorry, what?
I was thinking about this question, for tonight, but I was I was thinking about it as I could only choose one.
Yeah.
So I actually came up with the 3 guys that you just said, and I'm like, all right, well, if I have to choose one, how am I going to choose that one? So what I did was I looked at, okay, well, if Jason Kelce retired, we do have a guy who's going to be very good in the wings in Cam Jurgens. So I said, even though I love Kelce and he's a Hall of Famer, so we could probably deal with that loss. Fletcher Cox, I thought about him, and we have Jordan Davis, and we have a lot on the line, so, in the middle there. So we could deal with him. And then I'm like, Brandon Graham. We don't really have many great pass rushers in the wings. If we had him 5 years younger with his leadership and everything like that, I think that is who I would go with.
Dude, even imagine Ndamukong Suh young and angry. It might be bad his attitude back then too. Like if you had a prime Ndamukong Suh, he was a freaking animal and a murderer.
I think Fletcher is better than him though in their primes.
I agree with that. And plus Fletcher, you have that like leadership mentality too in the locker room.
Yeah, he's not going to take the teammates to like getting hammered and getting in trouble after the games and stuff, like
Fletcher takes like guys' wives and stuff, and then the guys come after him with it. remember that story a few years back? Never mind.
So tell you what, man, we're 25 minutes into this. We don't do commercials on the show, but if we did, it'd probably be now. I feel like we can't talk about the Super Bowl without talking about the commercials. Is there any like old school commercials you guys remember, or even recently, whatever? What Super Bowl commercials pop into your mind, and what's your thoughts on them in general?
I think for me, like nothing recent that I can think of, but ones is like growing up, like the Budweiser ones with the what up, like that's a big one. The
Penguins.
Yeah, the Penguins.
Oh, remember the frogs? Bud. Wise.
That was the one I was going. You guys already took all mine.
And then, do you guys remember like the Bud Bowl? Like they had
I remember that.
Bud Bowl. Who's going to win? Light or there used to be a thing.
Buzz McKenzie back in the day.
So like things like that. The Clydesdale commercials are pretty good. Like the one where they are playing football.
Jim, we're not talking about wrestling in this episode, but remember the GoDaddy girl was wrestler Candice Michelle. I still call her the GoDaddy girl because of the Super Bowl.
Well, remember when the Attitude Era, they did have that one Super Bowl commercial. Remember Vince was standing in front of like the headquarters and Mick Foley
they're wrecking the building.
One? Yeah, right. That was a pretty good one.
Do you guys remember the year of the halftime heat when The Rock fought Mankind at halftime? Yeah, the I Quit match or empty arena match.
I remember there's a Doritos commercial I like too, where they're like just throwing Doritos in their mouth or something.
Yeah, with the hot chick. What was her name?
I forget who it was. I remember loving that one.
Yeah, she was good looking.
The rumored Pepsi one this year is gonna be Zoolander.
Yeah, Pepsi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Derek Zoolander, Ben Stiller.
The Cindy Crawford Pepsi one. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God, she was the hottest girl ever. Like even if you didn't know who she was, you're just like your jaw just dropped to the floor. You're like, you had to change your pants immediately.
Yeah, I feel like the last few years there hasn't been any like memorable ones. Can you remember any from like the last?
Well, Jim, that's because they get leaked early now. Like they all get leaked early, so you don't get excited. Yeah. Movie trailers they come online the night before.
That's stupid to me. Like you see some of the commercials before.
Larry David had a funny one last year. It was the crypto one where he's like, he was complaining about stuff. He's like, somebody was inventing the fork. He's like, you don't need a fork. I got two of them right here.
Yeah.
Like, do you think we should go to outer space, Lars? No, we've never been there. It was funny.
I don't even think this year, though. I mean, I know the year that in 2018 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the only thing I was thinking about was the game. I could have cared less about the commercials. I'll probably be the same this year.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of hot chicks and all that, man, I know Dak Prescott lost his apparently after the Cowboys lost their playoff game. It's pretty laughable. There's always a time of year where the Cowboys like kind of look hot and kind of look like a threat, and every year they just always fizzle out in the playoffs if they make it there at all. And from what I know, Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, his girlfriend broke up with him right after they lost their playoff game. It was actually Kevin that originally told me about this. So Kevin, hit us with the details and your thoughts, man.
I didn't read why she dumped him, but she broke up with Dak like almost immediately after that loss. She probably was waiting to do it and just needed she did it during the game, during the run. She would have been the reason why, Now she just made her look like she dumped him because they lost, which just might be worse for her. But at least she was nice enough to wait until they to follow through until then. But I was saying too, I didn't even know Jalen Hurts had a girlfriend until after this, because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, Jalen Hurts is such a great guy. He should just go for her. He should have any girl he wants. But even the woman he dates is perfect. She was on the dean's list at Alabama. She's an upstanding citizen, a great activist. He's a perfect person as well. He found the perfect woman too. He can do no wrong in any facet of life. He's such a great person.
Do you wish you were Jalen Hurts, Kev?
Right now, I think we all wish we were Jalen Hurts, Jim. I think we would trade places with any Eagle, even Jake Elliott right now. Jake Elliott's backup right now, or Sipsis right now.
I'd be Minshew for sure, man.
Let me ask you guys a question. let's say you were dating a girl, she's super hot, and then things are starting to get hot and heavy, and then you look in her closet and you see a Cowboys jersey. She's a Cowboys fan. What do you do?
Rat poison? I mean,
do you stay in that relationship or is it over?
no, I can't date a Mets fan or a Cowboys fan.
Johnny?
In all seriousness, if things were gone good already, it could be like kind of fun. Like, you ever been to like the bar with like, someone of the opposing team, but they're kind of friendly, and you wind up like talking shit, but really you're being friendly. Like,
yeah,
I
but
think
like
it could be.
not a fucking Cowboys
Steelers,
fan.
sure. Even the Yankees are cool, These have history.
Yeah, other teams, but no fucking Cowboys fan.
Mets.
I mean, I wouldn't love it, but I don't know. I don't. In all seriousness, I don't think I'd throw like a good relationship away because of like what team you root for. I know that's not the answer you guys want to hear, but
coonhound, man, you're a coos hound, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I probably would just try to smash one of her friends and just break up organically.
Fair enough.
Brought it on herself, It's pretty much cheating, It's like she had to get fair first.
Yeah.
Cowboys shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. While we're on the topic of things we don't want to talk about, we're talking about the Eagles' legacy. We're talking about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 52. There's a redheaded stepchild that no one likes to bring up. I even have that jersey in my closet. I wanted to talk about Carson Wentz and what kind of memory you guys have of Carson Wentz, because I want to go off on this eventually. I'm gonna let you guys start. Just what are your thoughts in general of Carson Wentz? What's your memories of Carson Wentz? For anyone that doesn't know, Carson Wentz pretty much led us to Super Bowl 52, got hurt late in the season. Nick Foles, the backup quarterback, then won the Super Bowl for us. And then next year we went with Carson Wentz, and it was just never the same. And we traded him away, and he's just kind of been garbage ever since.
Yeah, when I think about Carson Wentz, I honestly think about that year. I honestly thought he was going to be our franchise quarterback for the next 10, 12 years. He was going to lead us to Super Bowls, be an MVP candidate. And obviously, it's just the injuries, he couldn't take it mentally. It was too much for him. And then when they drafted Jalen Hurts, he just couldn't. Look, it broke him. So some guys have a mental capacity to deal with adversity and curveballs, but I think sometimes when guys are, when you're the best at everything your whole life, and then your head's so big and that you have that mindset, when you get taken down a notch, some guys can't deal with it.
I think some people just can't deal with the big city. I think Philadelphia got to him. He's a North Dakota boy, total freaking redneck. Totally, he's like more like a Scranton, Pittsburgh guy. If he was there, it would have been better. As soon as he got some heat and some people started turning on him, it just showed like how weak his backbone was. All the talent in the world, and it just shows you too, like both of his backups have made the Super Bowl now, and hopefully both have won one. We'll find out this Sunday.
Well, what happened in Indianapolis and Washington now?
He was already broken, man. He was already broken. If he started there, it'd been a different story. Like a lot of people can't handle New York either. A lot of people can't handle.
But I think he was broken the minute Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, remember when he like, just to fit in, he proposed to his girlfriend. He's like, "Look, I got a ring too." He was like he was so jealous and did that too, like the same weekend or whatever too.
He couldn't handle that Nick Foles won that Super Bowl.
There's a statue of your backup.
And they did put a statue of him out there, which was a mistake. And they did draft Jalen Hurts, which was a mistake. But it turned out things happen for a reason. And, this is the reason. We're on the verge of, becoming a giant. I don't want to say it before we win anything, but our team is built for the long haul here. This isn't a 1 year thing like 2017.
If Hurts doesn't step backwards, we're going to be good for a long time. If he stays at this level or even close to this level, we're going to be good for a long time. We're mostly young. We definitely have a couple places
And the places where we're old, we have guys in the wings.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I mean, that's kind of what I have to say. Like, I feel like we got the best of Carson Wentz that Carson Wentz is ever going to give anyone. I feel like Carson Wentz is never going to take another team to the Super Bowl. I feel like Philadelphia can hang their hat that we had Carson Wentz in his prime. And by the way it's looking, he's never going to get back there. So
I don't even know if he'll be in the league anymore, to be honest.
Right. Well, while we're talking about like fallen soldiers, man, you know who I really thought we would be playing the Super Bowl against was the Buffalo Bills. They have such a strong fan base, the Bills Mafia. Josh Allen, I don't know. I mean, they just got beat by Cincinnati. What do you guys think of that whole thing? Like they were kind of my like black horse to kind of win the Super Bowl if you would have asked me in like week 5 or whatever, you know?
The script is written for them to win too, especially after the DeMar Hamlin situation too. Like it was theirs for the taking. A lot of people online, I disagree with this. They're calling Josh Allen the next Phillip Rivers. They're saying he's all stats, can't win the big game. I'm starting to be over at Buffalo too. They've been the best offensive team like for 2-3 years now. Like they just lose the big games. I don't get it. Like
they've been the best passing. Their big problem, they can't run the ball. Their O-line is not great. And honestly, in that game they lost to the Bengals, the snow was a factor. The footing and everything like that, it was a factor. That's football though. That's part of the game. Cincinnati's O-line is horrible. It's banged up, as you saw in the AFC Championship game. And if there was no snow there, I would think that Buffalo would have been able to get some pressure on Burrow. But, that's the way it goes. It snows sometimes, and you got to be able to play through it. But, yeah, you're right. They've been the team for how many years in a row? Eventually, you got to break through. And if you don't break through, then, changes need to be made.
I totally agree. How do you guys, this is a wrestling podcast, so I feel like we have to acknowledge Bills Mafia fans jumping through tables. How do you compare that to that video of the Eagles fan, like jumping off the RV and getting caught by his friends?
I think us and them are the two biggest, best, wildest, craziest, most passionate fan bases in the NFL, I would say.
Yeah, so like I said the other day, the cops greased the poles in Philly like before the game even started, and I've been doing that since the
but people still get up them.
Women since the 90s.
There we go. All right, and for anyone that's gambling, we made it 38 minutes before we dropped a dick joke. So if you bet the over, good job.
Well, speaking of gambling, Johnny, what do you think about this? The what I told you about earlier. Drake put $700,000, not $700, $700,000 on the Chiefs. What do you think about that, guys? Are you a Drake fan anymore? Champagne Poppy up there, Drake?
No, I wasn't a Drake fan to begin with. I went from 0 to 0 really quick. I don't know. Whatever. Be a hater if you want to. I just feel like Philadelphia is like the cooler team out of the two. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're not rooting for Philadelphia, you're just like a hater. And like I said, you never tasted Cheese Whiz. You probably never been to a Wawa, and you just don't understand.
The only people like that want Kansas City to win have State Farm Insurance.
Yeah.
They're all wearing khakis.
Patrick Mahomes too, which kind of upset me because I love my Riri.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Patrick Mahomes is so good that if Patrick Mahomes wasn't the quarterback in this game, then I don't even think there would be a question. But
yeah, I would just put our worst defensive player in and just break Patrick Mahomes' ankle the first play.
But that's what it needs to be. I've been kind of waiting to say. I feel like a key to success, obviously, we just have to make Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable. The Eagles have to go in there and really hit him, make him throw off balance, make him throw off the run. That get him on the ground, hit him after the pass, but don't cause any penalties, stay out of penalty trouble in general. I really feel like that's going to be huge if we can get Patrick Mahomes rattled and get him on the ground early in the game, really set the tone. I feel like this could be an ass whooping.
I hope so. The Chiefs are so well coached, though. They're very conservative too. They don't make many mistakes. So their team that you would like, Johnny, like they punt when they're supposed to punt. They're one of the least aggressive teams in the league, which hopefully that helps us as long as we don't get overly aggressive and shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, and there's pros and cons with that. I have a very like old man mentality when it comes to like sports in general and football. Like I'm always saying like it's like an inside joke, like, oh, take the field goal. You know what I mean? Like get the points on the board. But there is some truth to that. But it can shoot you in the foot if you play like a wuss out there. Like playing like a wuss isn't always the best place to play in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we can believe we were the sixth most aggressive team on fourth down. I thought we'd be number one by far, but I guess some teams are probably down and we're forced to go for it more than us. We had so many leads, but
yeah.
It felt like we went for it way more than we should have.
Absolutely. Sirianni's a dog. I can't believe we went this long. We didn't talk about Nick Sirianni. I love Nick Sirianni's play calling. I love that he's aggressive. I think it's awesome. I mean, that's why he's coaching and I'm not, because I wouldn't go for some of those calls. There's been multiple times this year I've been yelling at the TV, like, why are we gone for this? And he makes the fourth down conversion. And it's like, wow, that's why he's getting paid and I'm not. You know what I mean? We need that.
Nick Sirianni's rookie year, I hated him. I hated him so much. I'm like, I would never hire a coach that's under 50 because you were trained by Madden. Madden taught you the game, not actually watching football. So you were too aggressive. They were playing like John Madden football. I was picking to get plays for him. Well, obviously, he won me over. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I like him. I like his attitude. Yeah, I think he's definitely a good head coach. He knows what he can do and what he can't do.
I thought he didn't used to adjust. Now he adjusts like a lot. Like he would be too stuck to his scheme earlier, and now he runs the scheme that's best suited to his players. I don't think he did that.
He let the Sean Steichen take over play calling.
That helped a lot too. So, Johnny's got the goose going. That's a good night.
Oh, you know it. Oh yeah, baby. I'm pouring the rest of this out.
It has like a ribbon on it. Was that like a present? Was that a gift?
I almost made my name Drunk Batman, but I didn't want to start with that tone.
I almost put Daddy Kelsey.
Awesome. Real easy question. Just someone we didn't talk about. Kev, I'll ask you. What is a king to a Goddard?
Oh man, like believe it or not, I think Goddard's a tad overrated. But he's been running over guys all year. Yeah, he has a couple drops here and there that I'm still an Ertz guy. I'm still an Ertz guy. But Goddard, he's been having a lot of big plays, and definitely he's top 5 tight ends in the league. But I think he's a tad overrated. I don't think he's number 1. Like I think Kelsey's better. I think Kittle's better.
Wow. Not the direction I expected, but before I respond, I mean, I got to pass it to Jim. Jim, what do you think? Be the middleman here, because I have a whole different answer.
I think Goddard's really good. He's a really good blocker. He does have some drops, but he's great. He's great in the open field. He's great at yak, yards after catch. I'd say he's a top 5 tight end. That's another position where you could say Kansas City has a decided advantage because Kelsey is in a league of his own when it comes to tight ends and pass catching. But yeah, he's definitely up there. I like him. He's good.
I like him a lot too, man. I've been preaching that for a while. Like even when we had like Zach Ertz, I feel like Goddard was getting outshined, and I understand Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz had that like chemistry, and that was all great. It worked then. But even back then, Goddard would always come in and make like such like a clutch third down conversion or something. And even to this day, he always has like that one play typically that will really be a difference maker. And he's just physically a bigger man than a lot of people in the secondary. And if you get him, like you get Goddard the ball, like he's making plays. I just feel like he's a true playmaker. And I'm just baffled. Kevin called him underrated.
Overrated. I like him.
Overrated, excuse me.
Yeah, but the announcers talk like he's like the guy, and he's not the guy yet, And Ertz never got that respect, and I think Ertz was a better receiver, and it was like more longevity. I think he had the better career, and then but Goddard obviously can get there, and he's very good. And he has a lot of big plays. It's like right on the border of top 5, and I just maybe because like Ertz never got the respect, so I'm a little butthurt, that Goddard's getting it already a little prematurely.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Goddard's been like a good rock to the team. You're right. He's never been like the guy. He's never been the playmaker. He's probably not the one you're seeing on the highlight reel. But he's always that like consistent, like big man tight end.
Dude, the more he straight arms people and then throws them to the ground and gets the yards after catch, the more he wins me over too. So each week I'm becoming more and more of a fan of him. But hopefully on Sunday that I put him up in the top 3, top 2 if it's a big enough game here.
I'm already predicting. I can't wait for Goddard to get a touchdown, and I'm just going to text you immediately like, oh, he's so overrated.
Yeah, it's a great catchphrase. Like he should use that too. What's a king to a Goddard? He's got to use that.
Oh, maybe. I say that every time. You got me saying, anytime he makes a big completion, I say like in my head or out loud, like, oh, it's a king to a Goddard. So it's all fun. Kind of a swerve of conversation. I did see a meme. Obviously it's a Super Bowl. The Eagles have like an end zone. The Eagles logo is in. We went with like our classic midnight green, classic like Eagles font. The Chiefs, they went with like the mustard yellow end zone with Chiefs and red like writing. Did you guys see that? And what do you think about it? I think it looks disgusting.
I didn't see it, but yeah, that doesn't sound too well, I don't know why they would do that, but
it could be smart. That yellow could be like when guys wear white shoes so you can't see the white chalk. The yellow might like mess with your eyes a little bit when the kicker's kicking and stuff like that, or thrown in the end zone. Might be something.
Well, why would they do that? Their own kicker.
Would they be going the other way? I didn't really think
it. Every team goes both ways.
So. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Andy Reid's just got bad taste. I don't think he's a fashion connoisseur, so ask Andy.
You think Andy?
The top comment I saw in the meme was like, "Oh, this just makes Andy Reid think about like McDonald's cheeseburger with extra mustard or something."
Andy's loving it.
For real. Oh man. This is kind of like a random question too. I wanted to ask you. We talked about the Bills earlier. We talked about the Cowboys. Who do you guys think? Obviously, aside from Philadelphia, who is the most tolerable sports fan? Like if you had to pick an opposing team sports fan to sit next to you at the bar and like have interact with, who would you like to sit next to? Like who do you think is like the best other sports fan around here?
I like the Braves fans, man. I don't mind they're doing their little tomahawk chalk. They're nice about it, they're cool. I don't mind Braves fans.
Yeah, I think any like down south teams, like Kansas City fans are cool. They're they're nice. Is that your question? Like other teams, like who doesn't annoy you?
Pretty much. I was primarily going to focus on NFL, but whatever you guys want to say.
Yeah, like Kansas City fans are pretty good. I mean, there's some teams out west who don't even have a fan base, so
yeah.
But the Chiefs have a big fan base, and they're cool.
If I do NFL, Dolphins probably they're just like chill. They live in Florida.
I don't even know if they have a fan base either, but it's kind of like I don't know.
I used to work with a Dolphins fan. I didn't like him, so I just assume all Dolphins fans are like that. But who knows? You're probably right.
I would say the Chiefs just because their fan base is so big and their stadium's loud, but they're not obnoxious. I'm sure like other places think we're obnoxious, which we probably are, but that's who we are.
Well, on the sports talk radio today too, they were saying this is the first Super Bowl where like no one's been out of pocket, no one's talked crap on the other team, like no player like on the Chiefs has talked crap on the Eagles, and no one on the Eagles has talked crap on the Chiefs, or even putting their foot in their mouths accidentally. So that's
from
how the whole community in Kansas City is.
From Andy coaching here that he never lets guys do stuff like that. So I'm not surprised with that. And I think Nick Sirianni does a pretty good job of, I think he motivates the guys with some things, but nothing ever comes out. Like they're pretty good about not, poking the bear or putting any bulletin board material up.
Oh, did you see what we were talking about earlier? Nick Sirianni actually talked crap on Carson Wentz actually this week for once. You guys see that?
Really? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to paraphrase it. He said something to if they asked him about what do you feel about Carson Wentz caving under the pressure? Pretty much what you asked us earlier too. And he's like, well, if anybody fears someone having competition at this level, everyone is a good quality player at this level in the game. So you're definitely you have the problem if you can't handle healthy competition or something to that. If he said it as nice as possible, saying Carson Wentz, you're a little bitch, pretty much.
Oh, it's
true. He was really nice about it.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts was not drafted to take his job. He just took his job. He's just better.
Right. Cool.
He's got the testicular fortitude that Wentz didn't have.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Jalen really is killing it. He seems to be a great leader in the locker room. You said it way earlier, but I do love his post-game interviews and stuff. Just has a great demeanor to him. But let's say, man, I feel like we covered the Super Bowl pretty good. I feel like we talked about the Eagles pretty good.
Johnny,
the only direction. Go ahead.
You guys? Let's talk about the halftime show real quick. What do you guys think Rihanna's going to play? Is there anything you're looking forward to? I don't think we had him on her on the walkthrough. What do you guys think of Rihanna?
I mean, she's pretty, but I could care less about the halftime show, to be honest with you.
All right. I see why we didn't have that in the.
It was thought of. I don't know. I feel like it's cool. I feel like it's good for that. I don't want to sound sexist. I almost feel like this one's for the girlfriends that are watching the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? This isn't for the dudes.
I get it. I'll care about it if the Eagles aren't in it, but with the Eagles in the game, it's I'm focused on that.
Well, on the Eagles TikTok, I think it was their TikTok, it was one of their social media pages. They had the whole Eagles team walking into Arizona, and they were they were singing any Rihanna song they could think of. So you have Brandon Graham going, "Ooh na na, what's your name? What's your name?" All different players doing different lyrics that they can think of.
Like a diamond, like a diamond.
And they're mumbling because they didn't know the words. It was pretty funny. It was on Maria Barone's Instagram today. Maria, if you watch this, show me where to find that video. It was freaking hilarious. I tried to share it, but it wouldn't let me share it from her story to mine.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Yeah.
Well, fair. I mean, I hope she kills. I'm sure she's going to do good. I mean,
yeah, she's a good artist.
I thought I loved J-Lo and Shakira when they did it a few years back.
Yeah.
So I'm not just hating on female artists, but I don't know. Rihanna is just I don't know. I'm not a huge fan.
Last year's halftime show was good. I really like that.
Because we had 50 Cent and Eminem and I don't know.
No, it was Dr. Dre and
Rihanna said it's only going to be 13 minutes. She's only 13 minutes, which is good.
13 minutes. All right. Well, it's gonna be a fun cigarette break.
I'll probably depending on how the game's going, I'll either be pacing or
Yeah, for real.
13 minutes is about 3 times longer than I would last with Rihanna.
Nice.
3 times.
That's a fun
13 times.
That is a fun question. What kind of mood do you guys predict you'll be in during halftime?
I'm going to predict that. I think that it'll be a close game at halftime.
Gonna be biting off your fingernails.
I think I'm going to be frustrated. There's going to be some points on the board that we left on the table. We could have had maybe a field goal here. We went for it on 4th and inside on the 32-yard line. We could have kicked a field goal. We went for it, didn't get it, or something like that. There's going to be points we left on the board. That's what at halftime I'm going to be a little frustrated.
Well, I think we're going to be in control of the game. We're going to be winning the game, but it's still going to be to where you're nervous like Mahomes, So it'll be that little bit of anxiety, but you're also we're winning right now. We're in control of the game. We just got to keep it rolling.
You know what I honestly predict? I predict I predict the Eagles are going to get the ball to start the game, and then the Chiefs are going to be getting it back at halftime. And I'm going to be like, I told those guys we should have kicked it. No, I don't know. I always have that running joke. Like, I really value getting the ball back to start the second half.
Well,
But,
usually I would say defer because you have a chance to get it back to back. But in this instance, the way we start games out when we get the ball first, and just the data of teams winning the Super Bowl when they get the ball first, I think you got to get the ball.
No, you're 1,000% right. I was just trying to make a stupid little funny.
Yeah, no.
Johnny, what topic did you want to bring up before I brought up Rihanna? I didn't want to jump in on you. I don't think we talked about what you were getting.
No,
at.
I was just if you guys were down, I feel like we talked about like the past. I feel like we talked about the present. I feel like we might as well talk about the future. And I want to talk about the draft coming up. I was just going to ask you guys what positions you would really be gunning for the upcoming draft in the offseason.
I think they're going to go running back. I think they're mixing the ball up so much now too. I think they don't have faith in Miles. He's small, and he besides this year he got hurt all the time. I think that's why you've been seeing like an excess of Gainwell right now. I think they're ready to like have him in case they can't draft anybody or to see if he can be a good backup. I think Boston Scott's gone too. I don't know if you picked running back with your first draft picks. We have 2 first-round picks, don't we? So I think you pick a running back with the second one. The first one, possibly a young linebacker, possibly a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think depending what's on the board, you got to go best available. But I think a dominant pass rusher, we could use another one of those, an edge pass rusher, or a safety. But as far as running back goes, I mean, they might. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Miles, so they might draft one late in the first or early second. I don't know how I feel about that though, because running backs are kind of like dime a dozen, But I like Gainwell too. He's really showing me something in this postseason. I think he can carry the rock and the load. So
I think that's pretty fair. I kind of had running back in my head too. Obviously, that does depend if we keep Sanders. I do like Gainwell. Gainwell's really good at like catching the ball too, like screen passes. There was a time I literally thought Gainwell was a receiver at one point because it seemed like he was always like catching passes. But I'm definitely with you guys on linebacker. Safety, I guess, just because Slay's getting a little up there in age. Well, you know what? I was kind of just leading to this question. Would you draft a quarterback?
No.
Not in the early round, no.
No, certainly not early round, but
maybe one to develop for like a backup or to trade.
Yeah.
In the later rounds, but I wouldn't even mess around with that.
No, there's a backup out there that's smart that can't potentially be a starter in the league too. That's a solid backup, kind of how the 49ers had 3 of them this year. We can find one of those in free agency. We thought Minshew could have been it, but apparently he's not. So we'll find that smart guy. Just got to be somebody that knows the playbook, a hard learner that listens and that follows our culture.
So who's your least favorite Eagle right now, and why is it Cobley?
Oh, Covey?
Yeah. Punt returner.
Yeah, he's the only guy. He actually got a little better the second half of the year, but he did nothing the whole first half of the year. If what's his name wasn't so bad last year, Jalen Reagor, like we'd probably be all over this guy's ass. But since anything was an upgrade, that's why he didn't hear it as much as he should have. When they put Smith back there for one play last week, and I was like, yes, we're actually going to try to do something good this time. I think I don't think he ended up returning it, but.
Yeah, if you could look at the Eagles and say where's their weakness, I would say special teams. Our special teams weren't great this year.
Aside from the most important member of the special teams, my homeboy and yours, Jake Elliott, man.
Elliott.
Yeah, well, I'm talking more about like kick return, and
no, I know.
Yeah,
I agree. No
Like-
one. I've said this to you guys a lot, like not on a podcast, but no one appreciates a good field goal kicker till there's a game like the double doink game, or till you have a shitty field goal kicker. I feel like the Eagles really have done well historically with field goal kickers, from like David Akers to Jake Elliott. Like, as much as I've been a fan, I feel like we've always had a pretty solid field goal kicker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a kicker guy, but it's always good when you don't really have to bash your kicker. That means it's good. It means he's good. I know. I remember. I don't know if you remember the conversation we had a few weeks back about the when the kickers start taking over the game and kicking 80-yard field goal. 80-yard field goal. Who was that? That was
a fun combo, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Was that Tucker hitting 80-yarders in practice?
Probably because he's the best kicker. But until that, I mean, I always, it's important to have a guy who's consistent that can hit the field goals.
And John, I think you want to touch on how important this guy was for us for like one game. Talk about Dicker the kicker.
I've been waiting. That was the segue I was leaning towards, dude. I should have did my research. Bad journalistic integrity, but I believe it was against Jacksonville, I want to say. But I mean, he literally won us the game pretty much. It came down to a close game, and he made the game-winning field goal. And I remember texting Kevin the whole time, like, this could be the fairy tale story. Jake Elliott was out with an injury, which that's my boy. I was worried about him. But Dicker the kicker came in and did his job. And now he got himself, I want to say he plays for the Panthers now?
Chargers,
thank you. I knew it was like a white and blue team. I envisioned the uniform.
Yeah, they commented on the playoffs too. Like, it's Dicker the kicker.
Yeah, dude, like, it's good for him.
They call him that, Dicker the kicker. Yeah, that
it goes to show, because he did well, got himself a job. It makes me wonder about Minshew, because Minshew started for us a couple games and just couldn't really deliver.
Minshew cost himself a ton of money. He had a starting job ready to be handed to him, probably $80 million ready to be handed.
He looked great against the Jets last year. He didn't look that bad against the Cowboys, but what was it, the Texans, where he really let us down?
I think it's the team. He stared down his receivers, though. It was like it could have been worse. I know Watkins.
I know we're down on him because of that game, but he is he's a good backup to have.
But don't you feel he cost himself a ton of money? I think he had a starting job ready.
I don't think he would be a starter anywhere, honestly. I think he's a backup. Maybe if someone was desperate, they'd get, but I don't think he's going to get.
Not now.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, Joe. Parallel universe. What if he would have like dusted the Saints like 35-3?
Yeah, maybe you could see someone might give him a shot, to bring him in to compete for the job. If he would have come in and won both games and looked unbelievable. But I think he is what he is. He's a backup. I think the Dallas game we lost because of Avonte Maddox and going out because that messed us up on defense, and they just put CeeDee Lamb in the slot, and we couldn't cover him in the slot. So that killed us that game, along with Watkins. But yeah, the Saints game, he totally shit the bed.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. He had every opportunity to win. But man, I think this was like one of the best podcasts we ever did, if I'm being frank. I feel like the only place to leave it is we gotta do some score predictions.
Yeah.
I'll start out with you, Jim. Let's hear it. The predictions for Super Bowl 57. Lay it on me.
The Eagles win 28-24.
Nail biter.
I have the Eagles winning 31-24, but it's not going to be as close. The Chiefs are going to score a late touchdown to make it close, and then they're going to go for the onside kick and not get it.
All right.
Everybody's going to pick 41-33.
Yeah, right. That'd be funny. I'm keeping it real with my last one that I did last time I talked to you guys. Eagles 31, Chiefs 21. But I want to tell you guys a crazy story. I don't know if anyone's going to care, but I seriously had a dream over the weekend that I woke up and the game was over, like as if I slept through the Super Bowl. But the Eagles won, and there was green and white confetti. Do you know what the score was in my dream?
31-21?
31-17. Kind of an odd score. It's I don't know. I think it's a good omen, but I'm really pumped. And speaking of being really pumped, I'm really pumped to be here. Thanks for letting me host. This podcast is always the best. Anyone out there, please subscribe, please like, please tell your friends. Usually this is a wrestling podcast. Kevin's about to take over the world and be the world heavyweight champion of life. Jim's always here too, man, kicking ass and taking names. And sometimes if I'm responsible enough, I tune in and I'm here too, man. I just love being here. I feel like this was an awesome episode. I'm so pumped for the Super Bowl. I can't wait I'll be texting you guys like play by play. And yeah, that's about all I got, man. You guys have anything to say? Let them know where to find you.
Make sure you scan that code right there. Follow us on all of our social medias too. And I'm going to talk about the charity work we're going to do at the next wrestling event next weekend too, real quick, Jim. First, how adorable is our new mascot, the Dollar Bulldog? Kobe, the Dollar Bulldog. Adorable. Tally, that's your dog. He's adorable. We love him. And Monica, Triple B. So at the AXW pay-per-view at the historic Hamburg Fieldhouse next Saturday, February 18th, we're going to be collecting money for blessing bags for a charity for the homeless. My friend Julie Buckner is already collecting non-perishables. So guys, Venmo her if you want to help out with this great charity. Now through February 28th, we'll be collecting inspirational letters and non-perishable food for the homeless. This will be her 9th year and our first year as they pass the bags out in Philadelphia on March 5th. To minimize handling, please place a letter and food in a Ziploc bag. So guys, if you want to help donate some food or items, email julie.blessingbags@gmail.com or just Venmo, or even $5 helps make a difference. She's already been doing well and can't wait to help the homeless people out in Philadelphia too. So help them out. Cool. That's all I got, Jim. How about you?
Yeah, man. Just keep tuning in. To have plenty for you. This was a great episode. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. So go Birds, baby. Go Birds.
Go Birds. And real quick, the dollar winners. I'm sure there's some people watching this that want to hear the dollar winners for the week. From February 3rd to 9th. On Impact, Todd Brantley chose Mickie James, her second dollar of the year. NWA Power, I'm a big fan of the Renegade Twins. Check them out. They have $2 won this year. Jeff Lippman took May Valentine. He picks her every week, though. I like the Renegade Twins better. They have 3 wins. On Rampage, Saraya, formerly known as Paige, and I gave Swerve one. On SmackDown, Roman Reigns, $2 this year, and I gave Charlotte Flair one. And Jeff gave one to Zelina Vega. She looked amazing this week. NXT Vengeance Day, Grayson Waller had one, and I gave one to Roxanne Perez for retaining her NXT Championship. On Raw, Cody's the GOAT, and Carmella both have 2 on the year. NXT Jacy Jayne for turning. She had a Marty Jannetty moment. She threw pretty much Gigi Dolan through the barbershop window, and the toxic attraction's no more. I gave her a second one, and Jeff Lippman chose Tiffany Stratton. On Dynamite, I chose MJF, and Jeff Lippman chose the Bunny. So that's our dollar winners for the week, guys. All right, everybody, enjoy the show, and watch our hype video again.
Only one thing left to do. EAGLES.
Eagles! Go
Fly,
Birds!
Eagles, fly on the road to victory.
Philly fan, and you have thick skin.
There's nothing they do special.
We're going to finish with guys.
There's nothing they do special.
Being a Philly fan means you rock hard.
If John isn't in your vocabulary, then you just wouldn't understand.
Being from Philadelphia means you've always got grit.
Being a Philly fan means you have passion.
Tie the shoelaces together.
A lot of people that don't like Philadelphia are really just uncultured. They never tasted Cheese Whiz. Some of them have never even been to a Wawa. And that's not a world I want to live in.
Being a Philly fan means you have heart. Being a Philly fan means you have tradition. When people tell us they don't like us, we simply respond with,
no one likes us and we don't care.
We don't care. Guess what? We don't like you either.
we don't care. It's a Philly thing, baby.
It's a Philly thing.
Hey, run, go get us some beer, would you?
And the kick is good.
We don't actually say wooder, we say water. Stop putting that out there.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
3, 2.
Oh, we're still live? E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
3, 2, 1.
E-A-G-L-E-S,
Eagles!